I love this nigga right here.
The secret businesses of nightclubs. Disclaimer: all participants are consenting adults of age. All activities and establishment films are legal and compliant with city and state federal law. All footage and data is 100% original. Okay, that's fine.
Every city has nightclubs, social venues where people can mingle with strangers, dance with friends, and escape the monotony of life in an environment of darkness, music, and chaos. As businesses, all nightclubs face the same challenge every week. They have to convince you that their club is the place to be where you'll have the most fun on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night. People who go out want to have a good time. If a club is empty, people will just turn around and go somewhere else. If you're a club owner, the question is,
that would be a crazy fire club name for gay people. Club Bussy. Oh my god, I gotta copy that. Wait, no. Yeah.
Desirable place to be. How do you pack your nightclub with bodies and energy so that more people will come? You can book a famous artist to perform at your venue, but that's not necessarily sustainable and doesn't take into account just how much money the biggest artists charge per show. How can you make your nightclub pop on a regular run-of-the-mill Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night when you don't have any headliners? The answer is promoters. Where there are nightclubs, there are promoters. Promoters are a trade as old as the clubs themselves. Promoters are the invisible men and women who work to turn clubs from slow, empty venues into packed, exciting, desirable destinations every weekend. Cities are defined by their nightlife, and Chicago is home to some of the best clubs in the world. In this Modern MBA exclusive, we're diving deep into the secret world of nightclubs and club promoters. We'll ride along with 3 of Chicago's leading promoters in Derek, Jay, and Eric, observe their hustle, and learn the strategies that they use to throw the hottest parties in town.
The secret brokers behind Chicago's hottest clubs.
This episode is sponsored by Kajabi, the ultimate...
What?! Dude, get that shit out my face, nigga.
In the simplest terms, the job of a promoter is to bring people, primarily women, into a nightclub and make the club look desirable, exciting, and attractive. The women really make the nightclub
go round.
Nightclubs are businesses built on psychology as much as function. To comprehend what they do, we have to accept 2 realities of life. The first...
Nigga got on an Avengers shirt in the club. I can't knock it, but...
This is the law of physical attraction. There are objective measures of attractiveness, and humans, by extension, are attractive, unattractive, or somewhere in between. People who are good-looking get better results in the professional, dating, and social markets, and the same law applies in nightlife. It's a fundamental truth of nightlife that when people go out to a club, a concert, a festival, or a bar, and they see good-looking men and women, they'll stay for longer, especially if they're single. The second reality is the gender division of labor and pay. Through history, men are expected to be breadwinners and in most cases do indeed get paid more than women in the same roles. While this all might sound like off-topic tangential pseudoscience, it's essential to understanding the core business of nightclubs. Like any animal, human males will go to great lengths to pursue their mates. Where there's women, there will be men, and where there's attractive women, there will be men with money. And men with money will peacock to get the attention of attractive women. Yeah. Nightclubs give men who are looking to impress or chase clout a brief yet material platform for that attention and exclusivity. For a couple $1,000s, you can flex by buying a private table at a club. Men go where women are, and nightclubs make money off of men who are looking to make a statement. As a result, women are essential to a successful nightclub. In the simplest abstraction, without women, there's no one to flex on, which in turn means no men and no spending.
Maybe that's why I'm not a club person, bro. Just a bunch of niggas out here like throwing money, wasting money, all to get this fucking bitch that got her fit. She's on dick number 5 this week, bro. Just cause she look bad don't mean she not a hoe, boy.
If a club is empty, slow, has too many dudes, not enough women, or not enough attractive women, the spenders won't come. If the spenders do come, they won't stay for long with these bad vibes and they'll take their dollars elsewhere. And as the night progresses, it becomes that much harder for a club to sell those $1,000 private tables and $100 bottles. We can see this dynamic play out with Derek on this Saturday night. The club has just opened and the venue is understandably empty. There's a few people trickling in, the music is playing, the lights are on, but the dance floor is empty. All you have at the club is Derek and his group of ladies at 2 tables. At this venue there are 8 tables. These private tables by design are clearly segregated away from the public areas and the dance floor. There's a bouncer at the entrance to make sure that only the right people are allowed into these private tables. If you don't have a table, your only option is to stand or lean against the bar. Even though the club has just opened, they can't afford to look completely dead with empty floors and empty tables. There has to be some energy to liven things up, and it can't be coming from the staff. Promoters are generally assigned to
I got a dig in my nose. We good.
fill one or more tables, and on this night, Derek has filled 2. The club has kept
I
the
wiped
other
it
6
off.
tables vacant,
Don't
so
worry.
they can readily sell this inventory as the night progresses. In the scenario where the club takes off and sells all its tables, Derek would be bumped and he would need to give up his 2 tables to the paying customers. But this isn't a big deal because promoters like Derek work in partnership with the clubs. Derek would simply bring his entourage down the street to fill a different club. But for now, none of this is a concern. The only people and energy at the club in this very moment is all coming from Derek's tables. And all the people that you see right now at Derek's tables are the women that he's
that bitch
brought
was kinda
in
bad.
tables. And all the people that you see right now at
Pass
Derek's tables
on
are the
it.
women that he's brought in to help fill the room and breathe energy into this venue. It's no coincidence
Hey,
that
Derek,
Derek
bring
and
me in
his
the
ladies
club,
are
man.
seated
I'm
right in
popping
front
out.
of the
Big D.
entrance to the club. The first thing that you see when you enter
Bubba
the
coat.
venue and you turn the corner from the bar are all the women dancing, talking, and having fun at Derek's table. This is the exact value that promoters create for clubs, to give people that strong first impression that the
Is
club
Derek
is popping,
Asian?
or in this case, it's about to pop soon, and that it's worth staying around for. While everything is natural, in reality, the existence of women and the placement of them at these exact tables are all deliberate, strategic, and pre-planned. But these ladies aren't paid actresses. They're not pretending to have fun or under contract with Derek or the nightclub. They're real people and Chicago locals who have the freedom to do what they want. If they want to leave this club, if they want to visit friends at a different venue, if they want to go home, they can do so at any time.
Chop.
We know what's in it for clubs to
Sorry.
have women, but what's in it for the women themselves? Ladies who come
Literally
in with
chopped, I
promoters
swear
like
to
Derek
God.
get to sit and drink at his private tables for free. Promoters bring in the women, and the clubs supply the complimentary drinks and tables that will make these women comfortable, happy, and want to stay in the venue for longer. Thus, Derek is not paying out of pocket for these tables or drinks. By having these women present, the club by extension
farted,
looks
bro.
good, the place looks busy, the more
Damn.
people will come, the longer they stay, and the better the sales will be for the night. Good promoters like Derek build relationships with every lady at their table and are constantly growing their networks through word of mouth the same way that a good sales rep assembles a Rolodex of business contacts.
Sour
And
Patch
just like how a
Kids.
sales rep is only as good as their last deal, a promoter is only as good as their last night. Derek's professionalism is how he's built up his credibility and name over the years in spite of what his face tattoos and appearance might suggest. His name is
It looked
his
like he in a
brand, and his
mob.
standards are what elevates him above other promoters, and his
Damn, she
power
got
is in the
traps.
results, which are all things that he can't jeopardize even as he scales. His tables get priority service, he gets to keep his tables when a big artist performs, he's the last to get bumped on a busy night, and he enjoys a deeper rapport with the club staff as a familiar, respected, and trusted face who's rolling up his sleeves every weekend to help make the club successful. Derek tonight is even elevating the experience by surprising the ladies at his table with bottle service that he's paying for out of his own pocket. It's relatively
Casamigos.
unorthodox for promoters to buy bottles for their own tables, but these are all ways in which Derek invests for the future.
Bro, that ain't no
way,
motherfucking table. Them niggas standing up, bro.
After tonight, these same ladies who were blown away by this experience will hit up Derek first when they want to go out again, and will even recommend him to their friends. It's important to note that these ladies are not getting high-end bottles like Clase Azul, Dom, and Ace of Spades for free. What they get are standard, everyday, inexpensive drinks and mixers, and free is better than nothing at all. Yet for an expert promoter like Derek, filling his tables with ladies is just the beginning of his night.
So there's 100 different promotion companies in the city. What do I offer that they don't? I mean, everybody's got bottles, everybody's got this, everybody's got that. But at the end of the day, who gave them the best experience is what's really gonna sell them and bring them to you and keep them coming back out with your company.
Derek serves as an all-in-one chaperone, club liaison, and bodyguard of sorts for the women that he's brought in.
Facts.
His
Shout
job
out
is to make
Derek.
sure that they're all comfortable, have a great time, and get home safe once the night ends. He strategically positions himself like an additional barrier between the public areas and his tables, and he maintains this position through the night. From this elevated position, Derek can see everything happening at his tables right in front of him, but also make himself available for anyone that's looking for him. He monitors the vibes of his tables, entertains any ladies who seem bored, and makes the effort to make a personal connection with each guest.
But you gotta
From
ask.
open to close, Derek is watching closely to make sure that no one, whether it's strangers from the floor or neighboring tables,
Yo,
is
like, you gotta really think about it, bro. Yo, Bill Cosby will put up wilt numbers in this generation. These bitches now, like, they just, like, all they, because Bill Cosby had money. Let's say Bill Cosby was out of jail and he was, like, fresh and popping. Bill Diddy, right? Let's just call him Bill Diddy. Bill Diddy in the club, he lit all the bitches around him. He just dropping shit. Bitches is passing out. I had a coworker that told me, like, she got roofied one time. She said all she remembered was, like, she woke up in somebody's car and it was just like she was like blacking in, blacking out, and then she just jumped out the car and started fucking rolling on the highway. I swear to God, this shit is crazy, bro.
messing with the drinks, stealing purses, or harassing
But yeah, that nigga go D1 for sure. You know what I'm saying?
his ladies. Some of the women will naturally flow from the table.
I mean, at this point, you don't even have to do that now. It's like back then, maybe them hoes wasn't going, but now these hoes is going. These hoes is getting dick, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You show these bitches a little money.
dance floor, even as the club is filling up, as
They'll
the
do
table is
whatever.
getting crowded, and the people around him are partying. He's not joining in,
And not all
dancing,
women,
goofing
only a
around, or
few.
pounding drinks. When Derek's not watching his tables, he's on his phone coordinating with the next wave of ladies coming in, keeping track of the arrivals and departures, posting Instagram stories to build his brand, managing his team, and remotely checking in with male clients at other clubs that his company is managing around Chicago that same night. Chicago nightlife is an opaque, connection-based world where you'll find everyone on Instagram and next to no one on LinkedIn. Word travels fast and reputation is everything.
Basically, promoters come and go. And the main reason of that is because they get too full of themselves and they crash out. Then they disrespect women, which is like, you're in hospitality, that's the last thing you should do.
By developing close relationships with club owners, he can create the best possible experience for the ladies that he brings in. By midnight, the club is popping and Derek's tables are the life of this party. The women at his tables from opening have generated this momentum and energy that is now spilled out onto the dance floor. You have guys buying tables and bottles all around Derek to join in on the fun in this exclusive section. At opening, the only area with life was Derek's tables, and now 2 hours later, the whole place
Hey,
is vibing on its
ladies.
own. Everywhere you look, people are having fun and dancing. No one would have suspected that Derek is a promoter, and the women at his tables were technically planted. But at the same time, no one would have really cared. When people go to clubs, they want to go to a place where they'll have the most fun, meet the most people, and experience the best energy. This is the power of expert promoters like Derek, who can jumpstart a party, breathe life into a venue, and energize a club without any headliners on a random Saturday night. And even as the club is getting more lit, Derek is sitting in the exact same spot doing the same things as he was at opening, watching, working, messaging, and planning. Based on the number of women that he brought in and the number of tables that he sold for his male clients, Derek earned between $400 to $800 from this club tonight.
Okay. I'm thinking Derek
is
is
only what's
making.
happening at just one of many clubs in Chicago on Saturday night. A few blocks ahead of where Derek is, we find Jay, a 4th grade math teacher who moonlights as one of Chicago's best promoters. Jay is working at a different club that has significantly fewer tables but a much larger dance floor. And while every club has its own layout, the principles
Yeah, that's the
remain
type
same.
of club I need to go. I need to dance, nigga. I need to get down.
By tagging along with Jay, we can understand and see some of the nuances of what it takes to be a great promoter. There's actually a famous artist coming to perform tonight at this club, and the event has been well advertised all over social media. This is not the first time that this artist has performed here, and every time the lines to get in have wrapped around the block. As a result, there's no need for a promoter like Jay to fill space for tonight, as the headliner is guaranteed to energize the venue and to draw in the crowd. But instead of saying they don't need promoters at all tonight, the club has put out requirements. The club doesn't want to just be busy. They want to look like they're
That's
the
Derek's
best place
sister.
in town to the hundreds that come through the door tonight and to the thousands tomorrow on social media.
What
So-
the fuck?
Tonight's vibe was, it's summer rain. A lot of people want to see summer, of course. when
Who's
it comes
Summer
to
Rae?
me promoting and everything, they want to sell tables, of course. They want to sell big tables. Kind of like the minimum for a table tonight is like 1,500 to 2,000. Usually, if it was like a night where it's just a local artist, it would be kind of between 800 maybe to 1,200. But when it comes to big artists, it's like really between 1,500 and 2,000. And then when it comes to like girls, which is my job, like just invite girls to the table, make sure the place is popping. They have kind of like expectations, so they want to.
I hate niggas with that goatee, bro.
The 12 out of 10, the top quality.
Where? This bitch? She fake decent. I don't know what this guy's doing here.
The top of the batch, pretty much. They want the best looking girls for today to make the venue, look like it's popping. For house clients to come out, buy tables, that.
There's some bad bitches in Chicago, bro, and I ain't seeing them
Jay's MO
tonight.
is to keep the ladies flowing into this venue, and he doesn't have to do much to sell the opportunity to his network.
There we
For
go.
These women, the
I like that.
opportunity to watch this artist perform live, to skip the line, to drink, and sit at a private table all for free is too good to pass
Bro,
up.
that came off creepy.
But to
Wait,
maximize
this guy's a 4th grade teacher? Hold on. You not a 10. You not a 10. She low-key decent. I wouldn't hit none of these hoes, but it could they not my type, though. That's why.
earnings,
I ain't
the
got no
club has
type.
made Jay and
I
all
just
the
know they not
promoters
it.
fit all their ladies into this one table so that they can keep the rest to sell to paying customers. The table is small, and there's not enough room or much value for
Bill
Jay to
Diddy.
stand there the whole night once the venue gets packed, especially at his height. As the night unfolds, Jay gives up his spot at the table to his ladies and moves around the venue, all while working on his phone. He's messaging the next wave of women, answering questions, providing directions, monitoring ETAs, and selling tables to the men in his network. Jay's magic is in his numbers. Most promoters rely on Instagram posts, flyers in Facebook groups, and word of mouth to build up their networks. This organic approach to growth is effective but ultimately slow. With the help of a childhood friend, Jay has built a system in which his Rolodex of men and women grow every hour every day, even when he's at his
Rolodex.
day job and not just on the nights that he's working. In business, knowing what you're good at is 80% of the battle, and Jay's strengths are his in-person skills. His friend, in contrast, is great with computers, has a killer texting game, but doesn't drink and has weaker interpersonal skills. What Jay and his friend have done is they've combined their strengths and they've built a system that aggregates all the potential sources of where to find women and men who want to go clubbing. Jay has profiles on Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble where he writes in his bio that he's a promoter, the clubs that he works at, what women can expect when they match, and all of these accounts are actually managed by his friend. His friend swipes right on everyone, handles every conversation, answers questions, directs every match to Jay's Instagram, and records
This
where
nigga don't
each
even
woman
got
wants to
Tinder
go
Plus.
clubbing, their
Broke ass nigga?
availability, requests, and musical interests. The last part is especially key since every nightclub specializes in a certain type of music. By the time Friday rolls around, Jay's friend has already organized for him all the contacts based on their likelihood of response and where the criteria of the club matches the preference of the individual. Then it's off to Jay, like tonight, to do the rest in person.
Does Chicago have a lot of wind? Wait, is that what they call it, the Windy City, bro? Cause like Texas get cold, but the only thing I don't like is like we have so much wind. Like it can't just be cold. Like the wind has to blow. Texas has never been at just a cold day where the fucking wind doesn't blow crazy. I don't know why.
The ladies that Jay brought in tonight thought they were talking to Jay,
Like, it don't
but
just
in
be
most
cold
cases they were
outside, it be
actually talking
windy.
to his friend behind the scenes the entire time.
This profile, right? We just pretty much we show like who I am. We explain like what I'm doing, what I'm into, my interests is like, and I would say like I would never shop about clubbing. I'm known for DJing, of course. I'm a big DJ here, and pretty much I'm gonna go here to Tinder. We just kind of explain what I'm doing, what's my job, what ladies can do when they come to the club, when they come in and say my name at the table and everything. So pretty much with that being said, they can come in, depending on the artist, depending on the night, depending on how big the night is. When they come in, they would say, they would say my name. They would
Bro,
say
that nigga
JR
sound like
Access,
he
of
got
course.
something in his
Pretty
throat.
much they come in, I would come and get them. We just walk them to the table, and then from there, they just pretty much they sit down, drink, have fun. Just typical things that ladies would do at the club. And then from there, it just goes on the rest of the night. You see on Instagram, there's a lot of messages to the point where like I can't even scroll down to the point where like they have to load. It's just a lot of messages. Usually
I'm
we
seeing you on Delivered, my nigga. Don't lie to me, boy.
keep certain girls in our primary messages, and then in general right now, okay, so he did move them. So in general, we change up throughout the day. So pretty much in general, We have our top quality girls, and then in our private messages, we have the girls that kind of want to go to similar places, but like kind of like at the level of like, okay, yeah, they can go to this club, they can go to this club, but we kind of usually separate them. In our general messages, we usually have the top-notch quality girls, 10 out of 10s, the clubs that we know that they can get into no matter how they look or what they dress like, because just the fact they just like that quality, that top quality that the club want. And then in our primary messages, we really have the girls that just want to go anywhere, you know, just want to party and everything, but they're not like top-notch.
Their system and network has gotten so expansive that they get inquiries from people out of state who are coming to Chicago for a weekend and want to go clubbing. And there are just so many messages every week that they have to regularly clear out the backlog on every single app just to separate the new from the old. Backed by this system, Jay brings in roughly 150 to 250 women every weekend across multiple clubs in Chicago. As the lines start to wrap around the block, it becomes harder for Jay to bring women in. With the venue almost at capacity, the bouncers outside are getting a lot more selective about who they let into the club. They're taking measure of how each person is dressed, how they look, if they seem like spenders, and what they'll add to the crowd. The only people that are getting to skip the line and aren't having a hard time getting in this freezing cold are the ones buying tables. Not even Jay's ladies are getting a pass, and Jay has to personally vouch for them to get them into the venue. How Jay handles this scenario is a great example of how important connections and etiquette are in nightlife. Promoters are ultimately outsiders. In the org chart of a nightclub, they simply don't exist. Promoters
Hey,
are
don't
not
let that
employees
lame
of
ass
the
nigga
club.
in the club. That nigga's a lame. He got on a silver chain. Nah, I'm playing. He's like, you know.
Work alongside the venue staff, but they're not co-workers. In the controlled chaos of a nightclub, name dropping gets you nowhere, and even a longtime promoter as respected as Jay still ranks below in priority to a paying customer. Good promoters understand this hierarchy and when to liquidate their political capital to make things happen. In this
I thought
part
the
of the
girls
venue,
be getting in free.
what the bouncer says goes. Bouncers are more than just security. They're how the club enforces its preferences and hold the promoters accountable.
She throwing the group off.
It's bouncers who protect the club's interests and unilaterally
She throwing the group off.
decide if any individual
Sorry.
fits the club's requirements of attractiveness, and this applies even to the people that the promoters are bringing in. Bouncers can find any reason to deny entry to anyone, and a good promoter needs to advocate to get their ladies in. Jay has to exercise patience, and only once the bouncer has shown that he's ready to listen can Jay make a case for why his women should be let in. Despite his long-standing reputation at this venue, Jay ultimately doesn't get any special treatment. After a quick back and forth, Jay reaches a deal with the bouncer.
So kind of like what's happening right now is pretty much like I said, it's like when the girls come on the spec, I have to negotiate something pretty much. So like for instance, right today, there's a group right here that's behind me. Pretty much, the only negotiation was them for pay $20. That was the only negotiation. If not, then they can come in. So that's pretty much what they're doing right now. They just pretty much charge them $20.
For most of the women that Jay is bringing in tonight, this is actually their first time meeting him in person. Jay takes the extra step to make these women feel at ease by waiting for them outside before they arrive, introducing himself, escorting them through security, and walking them into the venue. Once the group is inside the club, he points out where the table is, how to get in, how to reach out to him if they have a problem, but for the ladies that Jay's bringing in, he explains to them that they can go to the table and get their free drinks, but they can only sit and stay there once they see someone else leave. The small table has complicated logistics in that it's not easy for Jay to keep track of who's where. His ladies are spread all over the venue. Some are at the table, others are at the bar, and a few
They don't let me in, I'ma shoot that bitch up. No more fun for nobody. I'm just playing. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what they be doing anyway.
more are
I mean, they do that out here, so I know they do that in Chicago.
downstairs at coat check. Jay makes himself tall and walks through the entire venue regularly, so it's easy for his ladies to spot him if they need anything. And sure enough, another unforeseen issue occurs. One of his ladies calls over to him and points out a man who's been harassing her friends on the dance floor. Jay immediately tails the culprit, reports the problem to the nearest staff member, points out the man in question, explains the situation to security, and makes certain with management that the man is never allowed back into the venue. This is something that only Jay can pull off given his familiarity and political capital at this venue.
Damn,
Because
Jay
the
that
staff
nigga?
know him and he knows
Hey,
them,
Jay
they
that
can take
nigga?
Jay's words at face
Jay,
value
you
and
that
instantly
nigga?
act. Once the situation is resolved, Jay checks back in with the lady. He provides an update, makes sure she and her friends are okay, apologizes for what happened, and thanks her for raising the issue. In an environment as chaotic, dark, and crowded as a nightclub, communication can be difficult, trust is expensive, and simple messages turn into long-winded games of telephone. As a promoter, you have to use the limited tools you have at your disposal to provide a good, safe, and comfortable experience for all the people you bring in, and for Jay to do this as an outsider is no small feat. On this Saturday night, Jay brought in the most women out of any promoter at this venue and earned $150 at a flat rate of $5 per lady. But since Jay also sold tables to the men in his network, he earned an extra $350 for a total of $500. And just like Derek before, these are just the numbers from one venue. As a promoter, you can take your entourage to other venues and get paid multiple times in the same night for having the same people.
Oh, that's
Jay
dope. I
eventually-
might have to start pimping them bitches. I was thinking about doing an OF pimping scheme. Nah, I'm playing.
Brought his group from this club to a different club and earned a grand total of $990.
Yo, gang. Let it go. I ain't even trying to be no hoe. I'm not trying to be the guy that just roast everybody.
Eventually brought his group
Look at
from
me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not 6 foot. I'm 5'10", 5'11". I don't have abs. Only have the top two.
this club to a different club and earned
So
a
it's hella things I can work on too, but you gotta let that shit go.
grand total of $990 for this Saturday night. As we've seen with Jay and Derek, promoting is ultimately a numbers game where the more women you bring in, the more you get paid. But is it possible to fill a club on Wednesdays and Thursdays? Can a promoter create an experience that's fun for men and women, and along the way generate even greater business for a club? Meet Eric Boss, a veteran of the Chicago nightlife scene who's redefining the value that promoters can create. It's 9 p.m.
Hey, that
on a
nigga
Thursday,
smooth as
and
hell.
Eric is at his apartment doing the final touches for his house and sushi party. He's coordinating with venue staff on his phone, reviewing his to-do list, texting his team, and posting Instagram stories to hype up his party.
Hey, talk to
No
them girls.
detail is too small, and no part of the experience can be compromised. There's bubble
What?
guns, cash cannons, sunglasses, megaphones,
Bro, I thought
light
that was a
sticks,
strap.
and even custom fortune cookies branded with Eric's Instagram handle, all of which will be given away for free over the course of the party. There's so many props that the only way to get it all from his apartment to the venue is with moving boxes and in checked luggage. Eric is a one-man army. He's the planner, designer, host, and maestro for each of his parties, and this Thursday is no different. Nightclubs generally only operate Fridays to Sundays. Unless there's a famous artist or a major holiday, there's typically not enough customers for a club to justify opening Monday to Thursday. The target audience for Eric's parties are not socialites and wealthy elites, but rather
Hold
everyday men
on.
and women. There's no ticket, no cover at the door,
Oh, hold on, Python legs. I kind of like the way you jigging. Hold on, let
no
me see the
strict
face.
RSVPs, and no emphasis on the traditional nightlife factors of
Where you
gender,
go, baby?
attractiveness, or wealth. For club owners, Eric's value
probably gay.
proposition is powerful.
The immediate impact is one is that they wouldn't have that many people, they wouldn't have that much revenue, they wouldn't have that allure on a weekday.
Yo,
It
if
just
y'all see
wouldn't
this
happen.
nigga toes,
And it gives them a different demographic too, because automatically when I am with a club, I do my party, you're getting my network, you're getting my social media network, you're getting my network of friends, people that come to my parties that support. Eyes on the party, eyes on the venue that would not normally be there. Automatically. Now I'm doing the marketing and I'm also giving the experience so that when people come there, number one, it's different than any other night a place is open. So it's giving them an experience there that they're not going to get any other time. And it's definitely something that's, you saw, very, very fun, but something that's, now they're going to remember that place forever, forever. They're going to remember that. And it's just one of those parties that it just takes one time, because any other time they go there, it's not going to feel the same. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to be the same. So that will be forever etched in their head. Why venues bring me on is because, at least with two of my parties in particular, is because I set the tone for the rest of the night. Whereas if some parties are only late night, and so if that party was just to start late night, it would be dead right from the start. But that's why with my parties, I set the tone, create the vibe where people could come in and it's already an environment where it could thrive at that point. Otherwise, it would not.
On the way to the
yo, what the fuck is that guy talking about? I lost him.
club,
I was thinking about Chief Keef shooting up the block of Chicago. I swear to God.
Eric picks up sushi from a fancy restaurant, which he'll later hand out to every person at the party. And he never stops responding to the hundreds of messages blowing up his phone.
Sushi.
Based on who comes into the venue and when, every party to some degree takes on its own energy, life, and tempo. Eric arrives at the venue, he sets up his station, he reviews the game plan with his assistants, and the party begins shortly after as the first people trickle in. Even at opening, Eric is in the thick of it. He's running around, thanking people for coming out, reminding
But
his
are the
team to
bitches
interact
walking
with every
around
single
naked?
guest,
That's the question. It's like, you barely got on clothes. Take them off.
handing out fortune cookies,
Nah, I'm playing.
making it rain with a cash cannon, blasting sirens on his megaphone, handing out bubble guns
I'm
to
only
anyone
playing
who
a
looks
little bit.
bored, and giving pointers to the DJ on what to
mean that
play
shit.
and when. Eric doesn't just plan the party and host it by name. He is the party, and he's the conductor of the orchestra.
Eric!
Everything that happens has a purpose,
Amazon!
and Eric is constantly reading the room to
Eric! Eric! Eric!
how to elevate the energy. Every prop, snack, and entertainer are all surprises that Eric strategically reveals to the crowd as the night progresses. Even though Eric throws these parties every week, there's just no set formula. Tonight he's handing out fortune cookies and sushi, but on other
Eric?
nights and at other parties, he's giving away fries from McDonald's,
Hey.
Frosties from Wendy's, sliders from White Castle,
Hold
and
on.
chocolates
What
fries
is he
from McDonald's,
talking about?
Frosties from Wendy's,
How she know I'm watching? You crazy, bitch. I think she's smiling at me. No bullshit.
sliders from White Castle, and chocolate strawberries.
I love
Before
White
all
Castle.
this, Eric
Only
had
the
worked
sliders, though. I've never been. And I only get them from the store.
over 10 years
I don't
as a
think there's White
traditional
Castle in my
promoter for
state.
various clubs around Chicago. He had long felt that the conventional focus on filling tables with women to be too simplistic. In his mind, if a venue is busy, if the space is packed, and if people feel like they're part of the party, that's ultimately all that matters. Eric's parties, like tonight, are by design inclusive, non-pretentious, unorthodox environments where you don't have to be rich to be a 10 out of 10 or to flex to have a good time. Everywhere you look on this Thursday night, something is happening.
Fuck that.
Bubbles are flying in the air.
You see how they came about that? Where you don't gotta be rich? Why aren't you rich, nigga? Get your bands up, nigga. Get your money up, nigga. Get your hustle up, nigga. And your muscle, too.
Snacks are being handed out for free,
Cookies?
there's a body painting show on stage, and bills are raining down from the ceiling. And since people are seeing Eric champion and embody these vibes all night long, the energy is contagious. Eric gives and people give back. Not everyone at this club is here for Eric's party, but the energy is so dynamic that they just end up staying. Sure enough, as the night unfolds, people start buying tables, bottle service, and drinks at the bar, and Eric makes himself present to connect with every individual. But even as the party picks up towards midnight, Eric gets even busier. He flies around from the floor to the kitchen to the storage, setting up the lights for the next entertainer, checking in on attendees, delegating to his team, and coordinating the headline event with his staff. The climax of this party tonight is body sushi, where attendees can eat sushi off the body of a woman that Eric wheels around on the dance floor. And this is just house and sushi. At Eric's other parties, you have pole dancers, sword
Look
swallowers,
at this freak ass nigga with the glasses.
and this
Hey,
is
that
just
nigga them in the jump cross table to get some of that.
house
Hold
and
on, look,
sushi.
look.
At Eric's
Look.
other parties, you have pole
You
dancers,
see him? He leaning over the.
sword
Oh, can you
swallowers,
see?
fire breathers, dominatrixes.
It's like blurred
and more.
out anyway.
Nothing ever repeats, and every party has its own theme, entertainers,
Mhm.
and snacks. The only time Eric gives himself a break is to scarf down his dinner consisting of a single protein bar. But even then, he's still wired in. He's responding to messages, posting stories to get more people to come to the party, replenishing props, and monitoring the vibes. As soon as he's done eating, Eric is right back on the dance floor directing, coordinating, and interacting. Eric's parties by design peak at midnight and then conclude at 1 a.m., so the vibes, energy, and people carry on until the club closes at 4 a.m. The bartenders can barely keep up, the bottles keep flowing, the tables are packed, and people keep streaming in. No other club in Chicago is this lively, animated, and crowded on this Thursday night, and for the people that are coming out, this venue is the hottest
I
place
like
to
that.
be.
We got all types of groups in here. I'm seeing niggas. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing the Caucasian. I'm seeing old niggas. You know, Chicago got a lot of wealthy people in the city, but they just be like businessmen and shit, so you don't be knowing.
This, in a nutshell, is the value that Eric creates. By the end of his party, Eric is spent, but even as Eric decompresses, he can't ever fully turn off. He's still on his phone, catching up on messages, posting highlights of tonight's party to his followers, and pushing this club for anyone still looking to go out on this Thursday night. In business, greater value creation often translates to greater value capture, and Eric is a great example of this. Eric can fill a club between 150 to 200 people on a single night with one of his parties. While clubs pay promoters between $5 to $7 flat for every woman that they bring in, Eric earns a $500 base and takes 10% of the bar revenue for each of his parties.
Oh, that's way smarter. That's way smarter.
Thursday night for House and Sushi.
Because niggas gonna get them drinks. Niggas gonna get them drinks. One thing about it, you know, bitches is like alcoholics. Like, you know, they love drinking. Niggas love drinking.
Eric earned $1,875. After paying for the snacks, props, DJs, and entertainers, his take-home was $1,100. With 4 parties in Chicago every week, Eric nets between $3,000 to $4,000 a week on the low end.
Ooh.
While the money is solid, it's not his primary motivation. Chicago is his home, and these parties are like Eric's
Shout out
children.
Eric, bro.
They're labors of love, and that passion is what keeps him going every Wednesday to Saturday, every week, all year long.
Sometimes during the night, things move so fast, and I never really get to stop and smell the roses, right? And certain times I will just stop there and just...
We'll call it there. You know what I'm saying? He's going to talk about him doing this, him doing that. I'm going to tell you what it is, nigga. It's about that money.
Mental nightlife experience.
It's about them bitches. It's about that ass. And it's about time for me to get the fuck out of here.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.